Namaskar, good afternoon. 28th December, 3 more days before the year ends. The year 2020, which has seen the world at a standstill. Yet, there is this huge farmers' movement that has rocked the country, and the government's response to it that has shocked the country. Today, I want to bring before you first the mysterious question of why the government of India has not yet responded to the invitation letter sent by the farmers. Here is the letter. I don't know how visible it is, but Sanyukt Kisan Morcha, which is a platform created for this movement, has written this letter to the government of India. It's dated 26th of December. It was sent through the usual channels to the government. Today is 28th. No reply has yet been written. So the question is, why is the government hesitating to reply to this letter? Let me share with you some of the key contents of this letter. The Morcha tells the government that unfortunately, the government is attempting to mislead the public by suppressing the true facts about deliberations in the previous meetings. So there is a direct allegation that the government is not telling the people of India the truth. We, the farmers' unions, have consistently demanded the repeal of the 3 Central Farm Acts, whereas the government has distorted our position as if we are asking for amendments to these acts. Now, this is the key problem. The farmers' organizations truly, genuinely believe that these acts are anti-farmer. They want repeal of these acts. And the government persistently holds that these can be amended and amendments are sufficient. This is the key problem, I repeat. If you are sincere about respectfully listening to the farmers, as you say in your letter, this letter is the letter that Avik Saha, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, wrote to the farmers' unions. So if the government is sincere about listening to the farmers, the government must not indulge in misinformation about the previous meetings. And this is where the pain is. The campaign launched by the entire state machinery to defame and malign farmers' movements must stop forthwith. You see, the government wants to deal with the farmers, hear the farmers, negotiate with the farmers. Yet, round the clock, every day, the government is defaming the farmers. Is that creating a conducive atmosphere for discussion? If you call me Khalistani, Pakistani, political parties, representatives, etc., are you really creating an atmosphere where we can talk in peace, talk in sense, and talk to find a solution? The unions then go on to say, since you are willing to hold a meeting on a date, time, and issues of our choosing, if the government is willing to hold a meeting on the date, time, and issues of the farmers' organizations' choosing, we make the following proposal on behalf of the farmers' organizations. We propose that the next meeting between the farmers' representatives and the government of India be held on 29th December at 11 a.m. We are sitting at 4 p.m. on 28th December, and no reply has yet been received from the government. With the following agenda as per the sequence mentioned below. This is important. So we have set the agenda. We have told the government what the agenda of the meeting should be, And what should be the sequence of the discussion? There are 4 items in this agenda. We are saying discuss 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Not any which way you want. So the first item is modalities to be adopted for the repeal of the 3 central acts. Number 2, mechanisms to be adopted to make remunerative MSP recommended by the National Farmers Commission into a legally guaranteed entitlement for all farmers and for all agricultural commodities. For all farmers, for all agricultural commodities. 3, amendments to be made and notified in the Commission for the Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and adjoining areas Ordinance 2020. This is the infamous stubble burning ordinance. Again, an ordinance, another ordinance. This government wants to rule by ordinance. So amendments to be made in that ordinance to exclude farmers from the penal provisions of the ordinance. The penal provisions are crores of rupees in fines, years of jail, etc. And 4, changes to be made in the draft Electricity Amendment Bill 2020 to protect the interest of the farmers. So the farmers have sought a meeting on 29th of December, tomorrow, at 11 a.m. and have set 4 agenda items. Clear, absolutely unambiguous. The government is yet to respond. The government, in my opinion, is hesitating to respond because there is so much clarity in this. We clearly mention what we want, and the government clearly wants to obfuscate what we want. The government is on a binge of public opinion building against the farmers and does not want to resolve the farmers. That is the reason why the government is hesitating to hold this meeting. But the government cannot keep away from a meeting forever if it wants to establish that it seeks to deal with the issues of the farmers. So let's hope by this evening a reply comes from the government confirming the meeting, and let's hope the meeting takes place tomorrow according to the agenda that the farmers have requested the government to follow. While on the issue of repeal of the 3 farm laws and a review of the Electricity Bill 2020, I want to tell you why it is so important to repeal these laws. Many people on social media have said that farmers are being arrogant, farmers are being unnecessarily tough. How can a law made by Parliament be repealed by an agitation? Go and test it before the Supreme Court and let's see what the Supreme Court has to say about it. The reason for the repeal is, and I'm trying to put it as simply as I can, like every segment of society in India, farmers and farm workers want an assured income, an assured livelihood, and ways and means so that they can be part of our society with the same financial resources that all other segments have. So income assurance is what the farmers have been wanting. For giving them this income assurance, the government of India formed the National Farmers Commission, which is referred to in one of the agenda points. And that commission has recommended that farmers should be able to sell their crops at 1.5 times the cost of production, and the government must ensure that the farmers get this price. Now, do these 3 laws assure that? Even the most ardent fan of Mr. Modi will tell you that these laws give the farmers, number 1, liberty to sell anywhere. 2, open the markets so that many big players, large corporations, huge traders, multinational companies, exporters, come in to buy the farmers' products. These are the only 2 things these laws assure. Very clear. This is what the government and the BJP are saying. Do these two things guarantee that the farmers will get MSP for all their crops as recommended by the National Farmers Commission? It doesn't. Hence, the farmers want repeal. And along with the repeal, the farmers want that the government should legislate, make a law which guarantees the recommendation of the National Farmers Commission. Is it such an unreasonable thing to ask for? The government has created the National Farmers Commission. The commission has given a recommendation. The farmers are saying turn the recommendations into law, into guarantees, into legal binding obligations. Instead, the government comes up with this cockamamie story that now you have liberty and very big people will now be coming to buy your products because the markets are free. And by the collective action of these two things, you will get the recommendation of the commission. The farmers want the government to be responsible to the farmers. The farmers want the government to ensure that the rights of the farmers are achieved. Is it so much to ask? The farmers are asking their democratically elected government to ensure and assure their livelihood. And the government doesn't want to do it. The government instead has come up with laws that are very imaginative, but may or may not yield the result that the farmers want. That's why the farmers want these acts to be repealed. I repeat, the government has failed to legislate what the farmers actually need. It has legislated something that large corporations, big traders, and large companies want. The farmers are not interested in these laws, which are very good for these companies. The farmers want the laws that are good for them. And that's why repeal is required. What's going to happen all over India in the next couple of days? Here is a partial list. I honestly cannot tell you all that is happening in India. There is such a huge diversity of activity, protests, dharnas, marches, candlelight vigils, that it's not possible for me to, or anyone for that matter, to be able to bring it. But from what I could gather as AIKSCC organizing secretary, and this is there in the press release of AIKSCC, we have very large rallies, marches, processions on 29th of December, tomorrow, at Patna and at Thanjavur in Tamil Nadu. On 30th of December, we will have similarly large rallies, processions, and public meetings at Imphal, Manipur, and Hyderabad, Telangana. On 1st of January, AIKCC has given a call to hold a nationwide protest through a unique civil disobedience, which is to take an oath that we, the people of India, stand with the farmers in their struggle to get their just rights from the government. So 1st of January is dedicated to oath taking. Some other farmer organizations have invited people of Delhi to join them to celebrate the new year. We all hope that in the new year, sense will prevail on the government, new ideas will come up, and a resolution will take place to this terribly tough agitation that the farmers are having to go through, thanks to the complete irrationality, arrogance, and the entire effort of the government to protect the larger-than-life image of the Prime Minister. I come to the Defense Minister of India. I think it was yesterday that he was quoted as saying that let the farmers allow this law to be implemented, give it 2 years' time. If it doesn't work, whatever are the problems, we'll then attend to it. Now, the defense minister, mind you, has been the chief minister of the largest state of India, Uttar Pradesh. He's a seasoned politician. He claims to be a son of the soil, a member of a farmer's family. He still wears a dhoti. This gentleman is telling the farmers of India to believe this government, which has clearly legislated a law for the rich businessmen of this country. And he says that you trust that these businessmen will deliver prosperity to you within 2 years. And if they don't, the government will review the law. Is it even a reasonable request to make? Is the defense minister saying something sensible? I tell the defense minister this, Rajnath ji, 2 saal nahi chahiye. Forget 2 years. Just keep the law in abeyance for 2 months. Discuss with the farmers, understand their issues. Modi ji may not be able to understand it, but you as a prior chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, as a prior agriculture minister in the Vajpayee government, you should be able to understand this. You discuss. We ask for 2 months' time. Keep the laws in abeyance and we will find a solution. Don't say, let us burn down the house and let's see if we can build a better house on this burnt plot. This is not a good suggestion, Rajnath ji. Withdraw it, take it back. We expect you, among all BJP leaders, we expect you to be reasonable. We expect you to be sensible. Don't put your party before the people of this country. That has never worked for any political party anywhere in the world. Do not dig your own grave, sir. I often face this question and I thought I must attempt to answer it today. Many mainstream media channels tell you that there is a lot of divisiveness among farmers' organizations. They are fighting with each other. They don't have a common understanding of what their demands are. Somebody is saying, give me this, somebody is saying, give me that. So the farmers' organizations are all split. That's the story. They also say that, and the government helps build this narrative, very large number of farmers' organizations are in favor of this law, and some disgruntled, misdirected farmers' organizations are protesting. So these farmers' organizations that are against the law must be quelled. And those farmers' organizations, the vast majority of farmers of this country who want this great law that will make the future of farmers beautiful and rosy, for them we must keep these laws going. So the question is, are farmers' organizations at battle with each other? Is there great divisiveness between them? The answer is no. This is a story, part of the spin doctoring that the government is doing, and some select media houses are helping propagate this spin. The farmers' organizations that are in favor of this law have met the Agri Minister. And the press release was given through the Press Information Bureau. It says that this organization, which by the way has used a very clever tactic of naming itself very close to AIKCC. It calls itself All India Kisan Coordination Committee. Just the word Sangharsh is missing. So this organization has 7,000 grassroots level farmer organizations in it. I tell you, and I tell you this with responsibility, there are 7,000 letterheads. I ask this simple question. If so many farmers' organizations of this country are in favor of this law, why is the RSS's own farmer organization, the Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, not in favor of this law? They are also saying that it should be amended. If this law is so good as the government proclaims. Why is the RLP, a constituent of NDA, now not in NDA anymore? Why have they skipped out of NDA? Why have they left the government? Why are they not supporting Mr. Modi? After all, they are allies. When you cannot explain the law to your own farmer organization, when you cannot explain the law to your own allies, and you go and tell the country that everybody is in support of this law, do you expect any reasonable person to believe you? And yes, I am the first one who will tell you that there is a great deal of diversity among farmers' organizations. There is a great deal of diversity in this country. Farmers of Manipur are quite different from farmers of Gujarat in terms of language, in terms of crops they produce, in terms of the agroclimatic zone they stay in, and in terms of their needs and requirements. So, farmers' organizations are diverse, and in this country, in India, diversity is not a sin, it's a virtue. And these organizations, while being diverse, are unified in their demand that farmers must get assured, guaranteed income. And that assurance and guarantee must be legislated, must be through law, must be through enforceable mechanisms. It cannot be a letter that the Prime Minister writes saying that I assure MSP. The Prime Minister may not be the Prime Minister tomorrow. Will the next Prime Minister honor that letter? The only thing that can be honored in a democracy, in a country ruled by law, is a law. So the farmers are saying, scrap, remove, bin these laws that you have made to favor your friends and big corporate houses. Bring in the laws that we have been asking for. AIKCC has made this law for guarantee of MSP, put it in Lok Sabha, put it in Rajya Sabha as private member bills. Raju Shetty from Maharashtra put it in Lok Sabha. KK Ragesh from Kerala put it in Rajya Sabha. Look at those laws. Look at those laws. Create those laws. Assure farmers a future. Assure them income. Guarantee that income. This is the minimum that any government which is voted to power by 70% people of this country, farmers and farm workers, should do for them. It is very clear that if the majority of this country, the farmers and the farm workers, are not being heard by a government, that cannot be a government representing the majority of this country. That government represents minority interests. And this is the economic minority of this country, the super uber rich of this country. And this government has to stop this game of make-believe that we are working for the people of this country while they're actually working for very few, very rich people of this country. The people have seen through the schemes, the Chanakya Niti of this government, and people understand it. So stop pretending that people don't understand. Mr. Prime Minister, take back your laws. Please bring in laws that help farmers have an assured livelihood. Hold a meeting immediately on the agenda that has been set. There will be peace and there will be prosperity in India. That is why you have been elected as the Prime Minister. Stop dividing the country, stop destroying the country, and stop playing with the sentiments of the people of this country. Thank you very much. I think I've overshot my time today, but there were many important issues. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Thank you and good evening.